So here at Mo, we've ridden the Zero electric bike, the Lightning electric bike, and we've heard a lot about the Brammo. It's been kind of like the Loch Ness monster of the e-bike world. Much talk, but no product. But here we finally have the Brammo Empulse R. 6-speed transmission, a lot of fancy battery technology inside, and Tom, what's your take on this thing?
Well, that's been the big point of contention among the electric bike manufacturers. Transmission, no transmission, and so far we have not had transmissions. The Empulse R brings the 6-speed gearbox to life, and what we're here to do is figure out, is it worthwhile, or do we not need transmissions with these guys?
Yep, so let's go ride it and see how it is. And so you might be wondering, why is there even a transmission in the first place? Well, according to Brammo, their reasoning is traditional electric bikes, single-speed bikes, you can either accelerate from a stop really quickly and have limited top-end speed, or vice versa. You have top-end speed up the wazoo, but your acceleration's really slow. With the 6-speed transmission, you got the best of both worlds. You can leave from a stop really quickly, change through the gears, and still have a high top-end speed too. So it feels like a 650 twin if we're talking about gas engines. Makes about 54 horse, about almost that much torque, and it leaps from a line real well. The transmission's kind of clunky. It's really difficult to clutchless upshift unless you time it just right. It really helps to use the clutch in that situation. Brembo brakes, 310 millimeter discs. Stopping power is really good. Just what you'd expect from Brembo. So over here, the heart of the Brammo Empulse are these lithium-ion battery packs in the motor that sits right down there. These battery packs produce anywhere from 9.3 to about 10 and change kilowatt hours, which comes out to about 54 horses and 48 pound-feet of torque. Wow, so this Brammo is still on. You can't hear a thing, which is kind of crazy, right? So, yeah, it's strange to think of this bike being as good as it is. The performance level is right up there with a lot of gas bikes. These handlebars gives you lots of leverage to yank the bike left and right in these twisty bits. It handles like a sport bike should handle. It handles real well.
Can you hear that? I don't hear it either. Brammo Empulse R. Chassis is fantastic, the handling qualities, it's got some monster front brakes. Big thing, 6-speed transmission. So far, haven't used a whole lot of it. In a tight little twisty road like that, you stay in second gear, it supplies all the power you need. You're not rolling the gearbox, but otherwise, this is probably, bar none, one of the best production electric bikes I've ridden so far.
Yeah, so we've wrapped up a day of riding on the Brammo Empulse R. It's a pretty impressive machine, but for kicks, we brought along the Honda NC 700X with us. And Tom, maybe you could explain why we did that.
Just to see how hard it would be for me to chase you in the canyon roads, riding an internal combustion bike with a very low rev ceiling, a single disc brake. But the two bikes, the Brammo actually has a few more horsepower. We dynoed the Honda at about, I think, 48 horsepower. Brammo claims 54 on this one, and they weigh about the same, about 470. Now, this does have a better suspension setup on it, but honestly, yeah, Troy, coming up through the canyon, I was working so hard to keep up with you, and then we swapped, and I got to ride this through the canyon, and now I understand why. The transmission, I guess that's the big focal point of this, and so far, you know, out here in the canyon, on the freeway, and around town. Around town, I used the clutch to get up to maybe third gear around town. I used the clutch here to get into second, which we've ridden in most of the day, and on the freeway, used the clutch to get into sixth. But after that, you weren't really rowing the gearbox as you would an internal combustion engine.
Yeah, you kind of set it and forget it, right? You put it in whatever gear you want it to be in for the conditions you're in and just don't touch it until you come to a stop.
Which begs the question, did they need 6 gears? I mean, couldn't they have sufficed with a high-speed, low-speed transmission, or maybe a 3-speed?
There's just a few questions. One, is it worth the $18,000-ish price tag? It's debatable.
Well, so far, you know, the big question, again, when you talk about price, is range. And this guy, we're averaging about 60 miles to a full charge. And of course, that's with, you know, a lot of hard throttle, a lot of long throttle, because, you know, it just kind of works in the inverse of an internal combustion engine. You know, steady throttle, hard down the freeway, chews up the battery life, whereas, you know, steady throttle on an ICE engine, you know, gives you a better mile per gallon. A lot of consumers are buying these electric motorcycles to commute, you know, run chores, do things of that nature because of the limited range in which they have. What we've discovered with the Brammo and the performance and power that this thing is offering is you could do those chores and commute to work a lot quicker and a lot more style with the Empulse R.